Imagine holding a single penny in your hand and realizing it could pay off your mortgage, clear your debts, and still leave you enough to buy that dream car you've been eyeing for years. Now imagine that penny has been hiding in your home for decades, sitting in a jar or an old drawer, quietly gathering dust, while secretly being worth close to $1 million.
Sounds impossible?
Well, today we're talking about the 1960 Lincoln penny, 1 cent that could change your life forever. Most people think of pennies as useless spare change. But here's the twist. Some 1960 pennies are so rare, collectors will fight tooth and nail to get their hands on one, with values reaching up to an astonishing $960,000 in today's market. And the clock is ticking. Coins like this are getting rarer by the year, and every day another one gets lost, damaged, or forgotten forever. The question is, could you already have one? The secret lies in the details. In 1960, the Denver Mint produced millions of pennies, but something unusual happened. 2 distinct varieties came out, the small date and the large date. A tiny difference, invisible to the untrained eye, but to a collector, it's like spotting buried treasure. The most valuable of them all? The ultra-rare small date struck in perfect condition, especially those with unexpected minting quirks. We're talking crisp edges, flawless surfaces, and errors like double dies or off-center strikes. These are the pennies that skyrocket from pocket change to life-changing wealth. Now, here's where the excitement really builds. Many of these pennies never entered circulation the way most coins do. They ended up stashed away in rolls, hidden in bank vaults, or tossed into old tins during the 60s and 70s. And some are still out there. Picture opening a box of your grandfather's belongings and finding a handful of pennies. You might toss them back into circulation without a second thought, while unknowingly giving away a 6-figure payday. That's the fear every coin enthusiast has, and why they check everything twice. So how do you know if your penny is worth a fortune? First, check the date carefully. Look for that 1960 with a smaller, tighter font and AD mint mark just below it. Then, examine the condition. Mint state coins, those that look as if they were struck yesterday, fetch the highest prices. 1 penny in pristine condition with the right variety recently sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, leaving the seller stunned. And here's the kicker. That coin didn't come from a museum or a collector's vault. It came from an everyday household, just like yours. This is why you can't afford to ignore the change in your home. People often think, oh, I'll check later. But the reality is, every month you wait, you risk that penny slipping out of your possession forever. The value of rare coins isn't just about age, it's about survival. The fewer that remain, the more collectors are willing to pay, and right now, the market is red hot for mid-century rarities like the 1960. Of course. The big question is, where do you even start? Begin with your own collection, coin jars, old wallets, inherited boxes. If you're lucky enough to find a candidate, don't clean it, don't rub it, and don't toss it into a bank machine. Handling it improperly can slash its value in half. Instead, have it appraised by a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service. That small step could be the difference between a quick $50 sale and a $960,000 windfall. But here's where the story gets even more thrilling. Some collectors speculate that there are still undiscovered rolls of these pennies hidden in America's attics and basements, waiting for someone bold enough to look. Imagine being the one to find them. Imagine telling that story for the rest of your life. How you turned a forgotten coin into a legacy for your children and grandchildren. And yes, there's always the what-if factor. What if you find nothing? Well, then you've spent a little time reconnecting with history, holding in your hands the same kind of coins that passed through the pockets of Americans in an era of jukeboxes, drive-in movies, and the birth of rock and roll. But what if you do find one? Because somewhere out there, in a coffee can or a dusty drawer, sits a penny that could rewrite someone's financial future. This already happened for others, it could happen for you. All it takes is curiosity, patience, and the courage to look. So, before you spend another cent without a glance, take a moment. That 1960 Lincoln penny could be your ticket to the life you've always wanted. Search, check, verify, and when you find that rare treasure, you'll know you didn't just stumble upon luck. You found your moment. If you're ready to discover more stories like this, uncover more hidden opportunities, and learn exactly how to turn old coins into new wealth, hit that subscribe button now. Your fortune might just be waiting in the palm of your hand. They say a single penny can't change your life, but what if I told you one tiny copper coin could pay off your mortgage, buy you a new car, and still leave enough for a vacation in the Maldives? Before you laugh and toss that old jar of change in the closet, listen carefully, because buried in there could be a 1961 Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million. Yes, you heard me right. 1 cent, $961,000. And that's not a fantasy. It's happening right now for those lucky enough to find the right coin. Most people think pennies are useless. They roll around in our cup holders, gather dust in drawers, and vanish between couch cushions. But for a collector, a certain penny is a golden ticket. The 1961 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, is one of those rare opportunities. It's not just about age. Millions were made, but only a few have the extraordinary minting errors, pristine condition, or flawless strike that make collectors bid like their retirement depends on it. Imagine walking into an auction and watching two serious bidders go to war over your coin, each raise pushing the price higher until you can hardly breathe. The real question is, what makes some 1961 pennies so valuable? First, it's about rarity. A coin with no scratches, no wear, and deep red copper luster from the day it left the mint is a unicorn. Second, errors. We're talking double dies, off-center strikes, and other oddities that make collectors' hearts race. Each flaw is like a fingerprint, completely unique. And the better the story behind the coin, the higher the price climbs. There's even a verified sale where a single 1961 penny reached over $961,000 because of its grade and unique minting error. Think about that. A penny outpacing the price of a house in many states. Now, here's where fear comes in. Every day, thousands of these coins are unknowingly spent at gas stations or tossed into Coinstar machines. Once they're melted down or lost in circulation, they're gone forever. That's why time is your enemy. The longer you wait to check your change, the slimmer your chances. Imagine realizing you had one in your possession, but it slipped through your fingers because you didn't act fast enough. That's not a regret you want to carry to SO. How do you know if you're holding one of these treasures? First, check for the D mint mark under the date. It stands for Denver. Then, examine the coin under good lighting or, better yet, with a jeweler's loupe. Look for sharp details, no signs of wear, and that brilliant red shine. Any unusual doubling in the date or lettering? Any striking errors? If yes, you could be looking at something life-changing. And here's a little humor to ease the tension. If you find one, don't run to the store and spend it on a pack of gum. That gum would be the most expensive you've ever bought. Of course, knowing what you have is only half the battle. Selling it for top dollar requires strategy. You can't just throw it on an online auction and hope for the best. The wealthiest collectors want authentication, certification, and a story. That's where professional grading services like PCGS or NGC come in. Once they seal your coin in that little plastic slab with its official grade, your penny transforms from a piece of pocket change into an investment asset. And when that happens, the real bidding wars begin. But here's the thrilling part. Stories are still coming in of ordinary people stumbling across one of these coins. A retired teacher in Kansas found hers in an old cigar box. A mechanic in Florida spotted his while fishing a quarter out of a vending machine return slot. They both walked away hundreds of thousands of dollars richer. Which begs the question, how many of these are still out there, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone sharp enough to recognize them? I know some of you might be thinking, sure, but my pennies aren't worth anything. That's exactly what the people who missed out thought too. You don't need to be a coin expert, you just need to look. The risk of not checking is far greater than the few minutes it takes to search. And the reward? Well, let's just say million-dollar opportunities don't exactly show up every morning in your coffee so here's my challenge to you. Tonight, pull out every jar, every drawer, every dusty piggy bank in your home. Line up those pennies. Look for the date. Search for the D mint mark. Get curious. Because while others are watching TV or scrolling through their phones, you could be uncovering a fortune that's been sitting under your nose for decades. And if you find one, remember, you heard it here first. There's no better feeling than turning something everyone else ignores into life-changing wealth. This is your wake-up call. Don't let another day slip by. Subscribe now because I've got more hidden treasures to reveal, and one of them might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand. Just 1 cent. Most people would toss it into a jar or worse, leave it lying on the sidewalk. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking 1964 D Lincoln penny could be worth as much as $964,000 right now? That's not a typo. We're talking about a coin that could change your life faster than winning a scratch-off ticket, and without the awkward trip to the gas station. The truth is, millions of people have touched a 1964 D penny without realizing they were brushing past a fortune. And right now, there's a growing wave of collectors and investors willing to pay staggering amounts for the right one. Why? Because the 1964 D penny isn't just a coin. It's a piece of American history, a rare survivor of minting quirks, and in some cases, a unique error so rare that it might only exist in a handful of examples worldwide. Picture this. It's 1964, the Beatles just invaded America, gas costs around 30 cents a gallon, and the US Mint in Denver is cranking out billions of pennies. But somewhere in that massive production run, a few coins came out different. Tiny imperfections, subtle details in the strike, mint errors that nobody noticed at the time. But today, those errors mean money. Big money. We're talking houses paid off money. Before you think, sure, but my penny isn't special, let me tell you, most people think that too, right before they find out their pocket change could buy them a new car. The most valuable 1964 D pennies have things like double dies, off-center strikes, or an unusually crisp proof-like finish. Under the right lighting, you might spot an extra thickness in the lettering, or a date that looks slightly doubled. It's almost like a secret code hidden in plain sight. And here's the part most people miss. Condition matters more than you think. If your 1964 D penny has survived with a sharp strike, rich copper color, and minimal wear, you're already in a higher league of value. Combine that with a rare minting error, and you're no longer holding 1 cent, you're holding a gateway to generational wealth. The kind of money that could pay off debts, start a business, or fund the dream you've been putting off for decades. Now, why is the market willing to pay nearly $1 million for the best examples? The simple rarity, demand, and competition. Wealthy collectors don't want just any coin. They want the coin. And when 2 or more of them set their sights on the same piece at auction, the prices can skyrocket beyond logic. Imagine a bidding war where pride, history, and bragging rights matter more than the actual money changing hands. That's where you find those jaw-dropping price tags. But here's the twist. Time is not your friend here. As each year passes, more of these coins vanish into private collections, never to hit the open market again. Every one sold to a collector is one less floating in circulation. And every year, the number available to the public shrinks. That scarcity drives the price up, and up, and up. If you have one, you're sitting on an asset that grows rarer every single day. Let's be real for a second. How many pennies have you handled in your life? Thousands? Tens of thousands? How many times did you actually look at the date or the tiny D mint mark beneath it? Most people never do. But right now, someone could have a 1964 D penny in a shoebox, in a desk drawer, or even in a jar of coins they've ignored for years, and they wouldn't know it could fund their retirement. The real question is, how do you know if yours is the jackpot? It starts with inspection. Use a magnifying glass, check for doubling in the date or lettering, and pay attention to any unusual shine or off-center design. Even a minor flaw could push the value into thousands. And if you think you've found something special, get it graded by a professional coin grading service. This is crucial. An ungraded coin might sell for a few $100s, while a graded, pristine example could be worth hundreds of thousands. And here's where urgency kicks in. Right now, demand is high, but trends shift. If a new hoard of coins is discovered, prices could dip. If collectors redirect their focus to another series, the market could change. That's why finding out the value of your coin today could mean the difference between cashing in big or telling yourself years later, I should have sold when the market was hot. You've seen it happen with baseball cards, vintage cars, even rare stamps. Values spike, then level out, sometimes for decades. The same pattern applies to rare coins. The difference is, the top 1964 D pennies are so rare that once they're gone, They might not be publicly sold again in your lifetime, so here's your challenge. Don't assume your pennies are worthless. Check every single one from 1964 with a D mint mark. You never know, you might be holding the key to a life-changing windfall. And if you find one, remember, knowledge and timing are your biggest tools. The people who get wealthy from rare coins aren't just lucky. They're prepared. Somewhere out there, someone's going to find a 1964 D penny worth $964,000. It might as well be you, but you'll never know unless you look. And the clock, my friend, is already ticking. If you want more insider strategies on spotting coins that can turn pocket change into pure opportunity, make sure you stick with us. Subscribe now, because the next coin we talk about could be sitting in your wallet right this second. And missing that information? That would be the most expensive penny you ever passed over. Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, the kind you haven't opened in years, and between faded receipts and forgotten keys, you spot a dull copper penny. Your first instinct is to toss it into the nearest coin jar. But what if that penny was worth almost $1 million? What if one tiny, ordinary-looking coin could change your life forever? Sounds like fantasy, right? But for a rare few, it's already happened. The year was 1969. The Beatles were still together, Neil Armstrong had just taken one giant leap for mankind, and in Denver, the U.S. Mint was producing millions of Lincoln pennies, most destined for pockets, purses, and piggy banks. But hidden among the ordinary were a few coins with a secret, coins that collectors today will fight over with staggering offers, sometimes reaching up to $969,000 in today's market. Now here's the twist. Most people who have this coin don't even realize it. They spend it on a coffee or let it disappear in change without a second thought. That's the tragedy and the opportunity all rolled into one. This is not just about numismatics. This is about wealth hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the knowledge to uncover it. And that someone could be you. Before we talk value, let's talk about what makes the 1969 D Lincoln penny so special. The D stands for Denver Mint, where it was struck. It's made mostly of copper, giving it that familiar warm tone. But here's the magic. Certain rare varieties from this year have a distinctive doubling in the date and lettering. It's called a double die error, and it's like finding a typo in history, a minting mistake so precise that collectors are willing to pay fortunes to own it. Why? Because scarcity drives value. The coin market is ruled by the laws of supply and demand, just like fine art or real estate. And when a coin is both old enough to be historic and rare enough to be nearly impossible to find, it becomes an object of desire. Imagine a game of musical chairs where there's only one chair left, but 100 people trying to sit down. That's the 1969 D double die penny market. But here's where things get exciting and a little nerve-wracking. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth almost $1 million can be microscopic. We're talking about subtle doubling in the numbers and letters that you might miss if you don't know exactly what to look for. And here's the danger: there are fakes. Some sellers will try to pass off machine doubling or damaged coins as the real deal. One mistake could cost you thousands, maybe more. That's why knowledge is power here. Collectors who succeed in this arena don't just rely on luck. They educate themselves. They know the telltale signs, the bold doubling in Liberty, the spread in the numbers of the date, the way the details seem to stand out like shadows on a sunny day. And they also know the importance of authentication. Third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify a coin's authenticity and condition, which can turn a skeptical buyer into a bidding war participant. And here's where your palms might start sweating. If you've been tossing change into jars for years, or you have boxes of coins inherited from parents or grandparents, the odds are non-zero that you've been sitting on a fortune without realizing it. People have found these coins in the most ordinary places: yard sales, old desk drawers, even loose change from the grocery store. Every time you spend a penny without looking, you could be letting a small fortune slip through your fingers. Of course, the flip side is this: once word gets out, the window of opportunity shrinks. The more people know about the 1969 D double die penny, the more aggressively they'll search, and the harder it will be to find one in the wild. That's why waiting is not your friend. The rare coin market thrives on urgency and scarcity. The earlier you act, the better your chances of finding and cashing in. Now picture this: your coin is real, authenticated, and up for auction. You're sitting at home watching the live bids climb. 10,000, 20, 50, 100,000, until it hits that magic $969,000 mark. That's not just a payday. That's the kind of money that changes your life. Pay off the mortgage. Fund a dream business. Secure your retirement. Maybe even finally take that trip you've been promising yourself for years. It's tempting to think this only happens to other people, that rare finds belong to a lucky few. But the truth? Every millionaire collector started with a single coin. Every record-breaking sale began with someone asking, could this be worth something? And right now, that someone could be you. So the question is, will you check your coins or let them slip away unnoticed? Because that tiny copper disc in your change bowl might not just be loose change. It could be your ticket to freedom. And the only way to know for sure is to look carefully. Now, if you want more secrets about coins hiding in plain sight, the kind that could transform pocket change into a windfall, hit subscribe. The next $1 million coin story could be yours, and it might just be sitting in your hand already. Imagine this. You're holding a penny in your hand, and it feels so ordinary, so common, that you wouldn't think twice about spending it on a stick of gum. But what if I told you that one particular penny, minted in 1971 with an S mint mark, could be worth nearly $1 million today? That tiny coin in your pocket might just be your ticket to the kind of life most people only dream about. And here's the scary part, you might have already spent one without even knowing it. The story of the 1971 S Lincoln penny is not just about copper and metal. It's about history, rarity, and the staggering wealth that hides in plain sight. These coins were minted in San Francisco during an era of political change and economic uncertainty. The S mint mark beneath the date is the first sign that you might be onto something special. But here's where it gets interesting. Only a small number of these pennies were struck with proof-like precision, and even fewer were preserved in pristine condition. The higher the grade, the higher the stakes, and collectors have been known to pay extraordinary amounts for the right coin. You might think, okay, so it's rare, but why nearly $1 million? The answer lies in the combination of scarcity, condition, and collector demand. Picture two coins side by side. One dull and worn, the other gleaming as if it had just left the mint. The difference in value isn't small. It's the difference between pocket change and a luxury home. Professional grading services examine every microscopic detail. The sharpness of Lincoln's beard, the clean lines in the memorial, and the absence of even the tiniest blemish. Coins graded at the highest levels, PR70 Deep Cameo, are virtually flawless. And flawless in this world doesn't just mean beautiful. It means valuable enough to change your financial future. But here's where it gets urgent. These coins aren't sitting in bank vaults. They're hiding in jars, drawers, and coin albums across America. Every day, another one is discovered by someone who thought they just had an ordinary penny. The clock is ticking, and the supply is only getting smaller. Imagine finding one, knowing it's worth more than your mortgage, your car, and maybe even your retirement savings combined. Would you keep it or cash it in? The market for these coins is hotter than ever. Wealthy collectors, museums, and investors are all competing for the rarest examples, and bidding wars have pushed prices into the hundreds of thousands, even topping $971,000 in recent private sales. Some say the market will eventually cool, but others believe these prices are just the beginning. Which side of history would you rather be on, the side that waited and missed the opportunity, or the side that acted and secured a life-changing win? It's not just about the money, though. Owning a rare 1971 S Lincoln penny is like holding a tangible piece of American history. You can feel the craftsmanship, the pride, and the era it came from. But be warned, there are counterfeits and altered coins out there. If you think you have one, get it authenticated by a reputable grading service before making any move. This isn't the time to guess. This is the time to know. And let's be real for a second. How many people do you think are watching this video right now, glancing over at their coin jar and thinking, what if? That's the magic of the hunt. The potential is out there, but it doesn't wait forever. You have to look, check, and act before someone else finds the treasure in your place. So here's your next step. Dig through your coins. Search for that 1971 penny with the S mint mark. If it gleams like a tiny copper mirror and looks untouched by time, you might just be staring at your own millionaire maker. And if you want to turn this discovery into not just a one-time windfall, but the start of a lifelong strategy to find and sell rare coins for maximum profit, you're in the right place. Subscribe now, because this channel is where hidden wealth stops being a mystery and starts becoming your reality. The next video could be the one that leads you straight to the coin that changes your life forever. Are you ready to find it? Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, one that could change your life forever. It looks ordinary, maybe even dull from decades of circulation. But under the right circumstances, this little copper coin from 1973 with a tiny D beneath Lincoln's portrait could be worth more than the house you live in, up to an astonishing $973,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk could be a ticket to financial freedom. Most people miss the opportunity simply because they never look closely. The truth is, hidden among billions of everyday pennies are rare treasures born from a perfect storm of history, minting errors, and scarcity. The 1973 D Lincoln penny is one of those hidden giants, if you know what to look for. But here's the twist. These coins are disappearing fast. Collectors and investors are snatching them up, and the window to find one is closing every single day. Back in 1973, the Denver Mint produced over 3 billion Lincoln cents. The odds of one becoming a 6- or 7-figure rarity were about the same as being struck by lightning twice in 1 year. Yet it happened due to rare die errors, misstrikes, and a handful of perfectly preserved specimens never touched by human hands. And while the average person tossed them into pockets and piggy banks, sharp-eyed collectors kept theirs sealed away in pristine condition. Decades later, those choices are paying off big time. Why so valuable? Condition is king in the coin world. A 1973 D penny in ordinary circulated condition might only get you a few cents from a dealer. But in mint state perfection, graded at the highest levels, it transforms into a masterpiece of American numismatic history. Add in the possibility of minting errors like a double die obverse off-center strikes, or even rare copper composition anomalies, and suddenly you're talking about a coin worth as much as a luxury sports car, a beach house, or yes, close to $1 million. Think about it, how many times have you emptied your change jar without even glancing at the dates? How many small fortunes have slipped through fingers because people assumed a penny was just a penny? The wealthy know something most people don't. The path to fortune often hides in plain sight. And those who hesitate, they watch the opportunity pass to someone else who simply paid attention. Here's where it gets urgent. As more collectors learn about the 1973 DS potential, the best examples are vanishing from the market. Every year, fewer show up at auctions. Prices aren't just holding, they're climbing. A coin that sold for tens of thousands 5 years ago might now command hundreds of thousands. What does that tell you? That waiting could be the most expensive mistake you ever make. But let's step into your shoes for a moment. You're at the kitchen table, sorting through a coffee can full of change that's been gathering dust for years. You spot a penny from 1973 with a D mint mark. Your heart skips a beat. Is this the one? You check for that sharp, crisp strike. You look for any doubling in the date. You notice the luster. Could it be uncirculated? In that instant, you realize you're holding not just a coin, but a possibility. A life-changing one. Of course, not every 1973 D will be a jackpot. But here's the beauty of it. Checking costs you nothing, and the upside is enormous. If you're serious about securing your financial future, it's worth learning how to identify the signs of a high-value coin. A little knowledge and a keen eye can be the difference between leaving a fortune in the tip jar or cashing in at a major auction. Some people will laugh at the idea. A penny worth nearly $1 million? Come on. But those are the same people who laughed at early Bitcoin investors or at art collectors buying paintings from unknown artists. History is full of fortunes made by those who saw value where others saw nothing. So ask yourself, do you want to be the one telling the story or the one wishing you'd listened? Now here's the cliffhanger. In a moment, I'm going to tell you the single most overlooked detail that could mean the difference between a 10-cent trinket and a $973,000 treasure. But before I do, take a second to imagine what you would do if you found one. Would you pay off the mortgage? Fund your retirement? Take that dream vacation you've been postponing for decades? This isn't just about coins. It's about unlocking possibilities you didn't know you had. That overlooked detail is the coin's grade, verified by a professional grading service. Without that certification, even a rare coin's value can plummet. But with it, your penny could command top dollar from collectors worldwide. And with the market heating up, hesitation could cost you dearly. So the next time you see a 1973 D Lincoln penny, don't just toss it aside. Look closely. Check the date, the mint mark, the details, and the shine. You might just be holding a piece of history worth more than most people make in a year or a lifetime. Opportunities like this don't come often, and when they do, they don't stick around. If you're ready to learn how to spot the next big coin before the rest of the world catches on, hit that subscribe button right now. The knowledge you gain could turn pocket change into life-changing wealth. And who knows, your next penny could be the one that rewrites your story forever. Imagine reaching into an old coffee can in your garage, pulling out a dusty handful of pennies, and realizing one of them could pay off your mortgage, buy you a new house, and still leave you with enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life. Sounds ridiculous? It's not. In fact, one particular penny from 1978, without a mint mark, has shocked collectors by selling for staggering amounts, with one recently valued at an astonishing $978,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a single cent, but here's the twist. Most people throw this fortune back into circulation without even realizing it. That's why if you've ever told yourself, it's just a penny, you might want to hold that thought. This is a story about spotting treasure in plain sight before someone else does. Back in 1978, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents. Most of them, of course, are worth their face value. But hidden among them are rare error coins and pristine condition examples that collectors will fight over. The absence of a mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia, standard for that era, but that's just the starting point. What separates an ordinary 1978 penny from one that could change your life is condition, rarity, and those elusive production flaws that slipped past quality control. Imagine a perfect storm. The coin is struck flawlessly on a copper planchet, preserved in untouched mint state for over 4 decades, and perhaps carries a subtle, nearly invisible minting error, like an off-center strike, double die obverse, or an ultra-sharp full strike with zero wear. These are the coins that make seasoned collectors' hearts race. And if you think that's rare, well, here's the catch: you could have one sitting in a jar right now. Now, before you start dumping your penny jar on the kitchen table, understand this: condition is king. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC scrutinize every detail, from Lincoln's cheekbone definition to the crispness of the lettering. A single tiny scratch or spot of discoloration can cut a coin's value in half. But a flawless example? That's where we enter the world of six-figure sales. And yes, that's where the $978,000 figure becomes a reality. Picture this. A man in Ohio finds a 1978 penny in a small box of coins his father left him. It's in a protective flip, untouched for decades. He sends it for grading, thinking maybe it's worth $20. Weeks later, the grading results come back. Mint state perfection, plus an unlisted die variety. Auction night arrives. The bids climb past 100,000, then 200, and in a blink, it's approaching $1 million. He walks away stunned. Now, was that luck or preparation meeting opportunity? If you're wondering how you can be next, the steps are clear. First, inspect your 1978 pennies under a good magnifying glass. Yes, even the boring ones without mint marks. Look for doubling in the date or lettering, unusual spacing, or a slightly off-center strike. Second, separate coins with strong luster and no visible wear. Third, don't clean them ever. A shiny coin you've polished is worth less than one that's naturally toned. Finally, when in doubt, get a professional opinion from a reputable grading service. But there's a reason I'm telling you this now. The market for rare Lincoln cents is hotter than it's been in decades. Serious buyers are out there, scanning auctions and private sales, ready to drop life-changing sums for the right coin. Delay too long and the opportunity might pass. Coins once valued in the hundreds can jump into the hundreds of thousands in a matter of months. Especially when collectors realize the supply is vanishing, here's what should keep you up tonight. Somewhere in America, there's another 1978 no-mint mark penny sitting forgotten in a shoebox, and its owner has no idea they're holding a small fortune. Could that owner be you? And more importantly, if it is, will you find it before it disappears into someone else's pocket? So the next time you hear a penny drop, don't just walk past it. Pick it up. Check it. Treat every coin like it could be your lottery ticket, because sometimes it is. And when it comes to 1978, the stakes have never been higher. If you want to uncover more coins like this, if you want the strategies, the insider secrets, and the exact steps to turn pocket change into serious wealth, then make sure you stay connected. Every week we explore coins hiding in plain sight, waiting to change someone's life. Subscribe now, and let's make sure the next fortune we discover is yours. Imagine a coin so small, so ordinary looking, that it could pass through your hands 100 times without a second thought. Yet it holds the power to change your entire financial future. In 1980, millions of Lincoln pennies were struck, but one particular variety, the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, has shocked collectors with values reaching up to an astonishing $980,000 in today's market. And right now, someone could be holding one without even knowing it. Could that someone be you? You see, the magic of coin collecting isn't just about metal and mintage dates. It's about discovery. It's about stumbling upon a treasure that hides in plain sight, tucked away in a dusty jar on your dresser, or mixed with loose change from your morning coffee. Every coin tells a story, and some tell the story of a lifetime. But here's the catch. Only the sharpest eyes and the most informed collectors will ever recognize these rare opportunities before they slip away. The 1980 no-mint mark penny wasn't meant to stand out. It's a Philadelphia issue, and Philadelphia coins traditionally have no mint mark. But here's where it gets interesting. Certain minting errors, flawless strike qualities, and rare condition grades have turned what should have been a common piece of copper into a financial miracle. Imagine sending a single penny to auction and walking away with the kind of money most people save for decades to earn. Sounds unreal, right? Yet it's happened. And it's happening right now. But before you rush to the nearest coin dealer, there's something you need to understand. Not every 1980 penny is worth a fortune. In fact, most aren't. The real jackpots come from specific high-grade specimens, often certified at MS 67 or higher, or from unique varieties with striking errors like off-center strikes, double dies, or other imperfections the mint never intended. These flaws, ironically, are what make them flawless in the eyes of a collector. Perfect imperfection. And here's where the fear comes in. Without the right knowledge, you could give away a life-changing coin for just 1 cent. Picture this. You're sorting through coins, bored, half listening to the TV, and you toss a slightly shinier penny into the spend later pile. Weeks later, it's gone. It ended up in a vending machine or a tip jar. That's it. You've just fed $980,000 into a snack dispenser. Ouch. That thought alone should make you want to check every coin twice. The beauty of this opportunity is that it's democratic. Anyone can play. You don't need Wall Street investments or insider trading to find rare coins. You just need your eyes, patience, and a little bit of knowledge, which, lucky for you, is exactly what you're getting right now. Every time a coin changes hands, a new chance is born. Somewhere in America, right this second, a 1980 penny worth nearly $1 million is being spent on a pack of gum. Why shouldn't you be the one to find it? Now, there's another layer to this story, the market itself. The coin collecting world is thriving, and rare pennies are hotter than ever. High net worth collectors and investment groups are pouring money into coins, treating them like tangible assets that can outperform stocks, bonds, and even gold. This drives competition. And when competition drives up demand, the price of that one coin you're holding can skyrocket almost overnight. Which means timing matters. And that's the exciting and nerve-wracking part. You never know when the next record sale will happen. A penny that sells for $200,000 this year could fetch $500,000 the next. Or more. If you're lucky enough to have one, waiting could be the difference between comfortable retirement and the kind of wealth that makes you completely rewrite your life story. Of course, finding one of these gems isn't about blind luck alone. You need to know the signs. Look for sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard, crisp lettering, no visible wear, and that rich copper glow that screams mint state. If you think you've found something special, resist the urge to clean it. You could ruin its value instantly. Instead, protect it and get it graded by a reputable service. That's your golden ticket. Or in this case, your copper ticket. So here's the real question. Will you take this knowledge and act on it? Or will you let it fade away like pocket change jingling in someone else's jeans? Because the opportunity is real. The numbers are real. And the next millionaire story could just as easily be yours. Now that you know the truth about the 1980 no mint mark penny, there's no unknowing it. Every time you touch a coin, you'll wonder, could this be the one? That little thrill you feel right now, hold on to it. Let it push you to check, to search, to dig into that forgotten jar in the back of your closet. And when you do find something extraordinary, and one day you might remember this moment, remember that it all started with a simple choice to pay attention. Because in the world of rare coins, attention is the most valuable currency of all. If you're ready to turn everyday coins into extraordinary opportunities, make sure you're here for the next video. That's where we'll uncover more secrets, more treasures, and maybe your next million-dollar story. Subscribe now because missing the next tip could cost you more than you'll ever want to imagine. Imagine opening an old jar of change and finding a single penny that could make you a millionaire. 1 cent that could change your life forever. Sounds impossible, right? That's exactly what most people thought, until someone cashed in on the discovery of a 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's now valued at a jaw-dropping $984,000. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth almost $1 million. Here's the thing. Coins like this don't come around every day, and if you own one, you might be sitting on the most valuable piece of copper in your entire neighborhood. But what makes this ordinary-looking penny extraordinary? And more importantly, could one be hiding in your own pocket change right now? Before we dive in, let's step back to 1984. Ronald Reagan was in the White House. The economy was shifting, and the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was churning out billions of Lincoln cents, most with the iconic P mint mark. But a tiny, almost invisible error slipped through the cracks. Some pennies left the mint without a mint mark entirely. To the untrained eye, these coins looked completely normal. But coin experts know they're anything but normal. In the world of numismatics, rarity plus demand equals value. And this coin has both in spades. Here's where things get thrilling. While most 1984 pennies are worth just face value, a pristine, error-free, no-mint mark specimen in top condition can command hundreds of thousands, and the market's most recent record smashed expectations at $984,000. That's nearly enough to buy a luxury home, pay off every bill, and still have a pile left over for a sports car? Or to now, you might be thinking, what if I've spent one without realizing it? That's the fear that keeps collectors and casual coin hunters alike checking every penny they come across. And honestly, it's a valid fear. Millions of people unknowingly pass treasures through vending machines, gas stations, and coffee shop cash registers every single day. Imagine being the person who drops a $1 million penny into a tip jar for a $3 latte. That's a story no one wants to tell. So how do you know if you have the real deal? The first step is simple. Look for the missing mint mark. Flip the coin, check just below the date. If there's nothing there, your heart rate might spike a little. And it should. But here's the twist. Not all missing mint marks are valuable. Some are just worn down from years of circulation. That's where grading comes in. Coins are graded on their condition, from poor all the way up to mint state. The higher the grade, the higher the price. And those pristine, uncirculated examples, the ones that look like they've been sitting in a time capsule, are the ones breaking records. Of course, here's the part they don't tell you. The clock is ticking. As time goes on, the number of high-grade coins in existence goes down, where damage and even improper storage can knock thousands or hundreds of thousands off the value. Every year you wait to check your coins could be the year someone else cashes in instead of you. But this isn't just about money. Owning a rare coin is like holding a piece of history. It's knowing that you're in possession of something so few others will ever see in person. It's a conversation starter, a legacy piece, and for some, a life-changing financial opportunity. And yes, it can also make you feel a little like a treasure hunter from one of those old adventure movies. Just without the collapsing temples or quicksand. So what's the move? Start looking. Pull out the jars, the shoeboxes, the old coffee tins in the back of the closet. Check every penny from 1984 that crosses your path. If you think you've found something, get it appraised by a trusted coin dealer or grading service immediately. And if it's the real thing, well, you might just be making a phone call to your financial advisor by tomorrow afternoon. But here's a final thought to leave you hanging, because right now, somewhere in America, there's another one of these $1,000,000 pennies still sitting unnoticed. It could be in your home, in your car, or rattling around in your pocket at this very moment. The question is, will you find it before someone else does? If you're ready to uncover more hidden treasures, turn your spare change into life-changing wealth, and learn exactly how to spot the coins everyone else is missing, make sure you stay tuned. There's a whole world of valuable pennies, nickels, and quarters out there, and I'll show you exactly how to find them. Subscribe now, because the next coin we talk about might just be the one sitting in your hand. Picture this. You're at your kitchen table, casually sorting through a jar of pennies that's been collecting dust for years. The TV hums in the background, coffee in hand, nothing special, until one coin catches your eye. It's just a Lincoln penny, dated 1987, but it's missing something you've seen on almost every other penny. There's no mint mark. You flip it over, curiosity growing. What if this simple little coin, smaller than a bottle cap, could be worth almost $1,000,000? What would you do next? Most people would toss it back into the jar, never realizing they just passed up the kind of life-changing moment others spend years chasing. That's the terrifying part. Your ticket to financial freedom might already be in your home, hiding in plain sight. And right now, that exact coin, an authentic 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, has a current market value that's reached a jaw-dropping $987,000. Not in some faraway auction, but right here in the United States. Before we dive into the specifics, think about what that means. A penny you can barely buy gum with could buy you a luxury home, clear your debts, or fund a retirement most people only dream about. The excitement of finding one is real, but so is the urgency, because collectors aren't waiting forever. When demand peaks, prices hit their highest point, and if you're holding one, the clock starts ticking. Now, here's the fascinating part. In 1987, pennies were supposed to have mint marks unless they were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins often went markless by default. But even there, variations happen, errors, anomalies, and the rare instances that make one coin stand out from millions. Imagine a massive production run with billions of coins made, and just a few possessing a flaw or unique characteristic. That's like finding a needle in a haystack. If the haystack were the size of a football stadium, so why does this coin command such a staggering price? It's all about condition, rarity, and the unrelenting appetite of serious collectors. A pristine, uncirculated example can set off a bidding war so fierce you'd think people were fighting over buried treasure. Because in a way, they are. And here's where it gets thrilling. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth nearly $1,000,000 often comes down to something as small as a microscopic scratch. I know what you might be thinking. Sure, but I probably don't have one. Maybe, but maybe not. What if that jar of pennies in your closet is holding your golden ticket? Stranger things have happened. People have found rare coins in pocket change, in old furniture drawers, even at yard sales for 50 cents. It's almost unfair that life can hand someone an asset worth 6 figures without them even realizing it. If you're wondering how to tell if you've got the right one, here's where it gets serious. First, check the date, 1987. Then, look just below the date for a mint mark. If it's blank, no D, no S, nothing, you're in the running. From there, you'll need an expert to grade it. And please don't clean it, ever. A single well-intentioned scrub could erase thousands, even hundreds of thousands, from its value. You wouldn't take sandpaper to a Van Gogh, right? Same logic. Here's where it gets even more intense. Some of these coins have sold in private deals before ever hitting public auctions. The true highest prices are often whispered about in the numismatic community, shared only between trusted buyers and sellers. That means the $987,000 figure you've heard? It might just be the public record. Behind closed doors, it's possible one of these has already broken the $1,000,000 barrier. Think about that for a moment. Right now, somewhere, a collector is prepared to trade a lifetime of savings for a coin you could accidentally spend on a candy bar. The fear of missing out is real, but so is the excitement of knowing you could be one careful inspection away from rewriting your financial future. Here's your takeaway. Every coin you handle has potential, especially the ones that look ordinary. If you've got coins from the 1980s, Pay extra attention to 1987. Start checking jars, drawers, even the coins in your wallet. Because while most people are waiting for the next big opportunity to come knocking, you might already be holding it in your hand. And here's the cliffhanger you didn't see coming. There's another coin from just a year later that's quietly making headlines for similar reasons, but I'll save that story for next time. If you're serious about turning pocket change into wealth, subscribe now. Because the next time you hear my voice, I might just be telling you about the coin that's sitting in your house right this second, and worth more than your house itself. Imagine this. You're digging through an old jar of coins, maybe from your grandparents, maybe from that dusty drawer you haven't opened in years. You hear the familiar clink of copper and zinc, and then you hold in your hand a coin so ordinary it practically yawns back at you. But here's the secret most people never learn. This plain little penny could be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, a single cent that could turn your life upside down.
Sounds impossible?
That's exactly what the owner of a rare 1992 D Lincoln penny discovered, and today you're about to find out why this unassuming coin could be your ticket to the kind of wealth most people only dream about. Back in 1992, the Denver Mint produced millions of pennies. Most were destined to vanish into the chaos of daily transactions, soda machines, and couch cushions. But a tiny fraction slipped through with a mistake so subtle even experienced collectors missed it. This wasn't some flashy minting disaster you can see from across the room. This was precision-level rare. We're talking about a change in the coin's design, the close AM variety, where the letters A and M in America, on the reverse side, are so close they almost touch. To the untrained eye, it's nothing. To those in the know, it's a siren song worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Finding one isn't like spotting a unicorn in your backyard. It's rarer. And yet, these coins are out there right now, hiding in plain sight. They could be in your coin jar. They could be in your pocket change. They could be waiting in that shoebox you keep meaning to sort through. Every day, pennies like this slip by unnoticed. And with each passing year, more disappear forever, locked away in collections or sold to the highest bidder. That means if you don't check your coins soon, you could miss out permanently. Imagine the rush of discovering one. You've just pulled what looks like an average penny from your change. You tilt it under the light, see that near touching A and M, and realize you're holding something worth almost $1 million. Suddenly, that trip to the grocery store feels like the best financial decision of your life. That's the kind of moment that makes your heart race. And yes, it's happened before. Collectors have paid staggering amounts for high-grade examples. One 1992 D Close AM recently fetched $992,000 in today's market. Now, you might be wondering, how can something so small be worth so much? It's simple economics. Scarcity meets demand. There are far fewer of these error coins than collectors who want them. And when wealthy collectors compete, prices don't just climb, they skyrocket. This isn't just about owning a piece of metal. It's about holding a fragment of history, a mistake frozen in copper that tells the story of America's minting process in a single, tiny detail. Here's the part most people get wrong. Thinking these coins only matter if they're flawless. Sure, the top prices go to coins in near-perfect condition, but even a worn example can bring in life-changing money. The key is knowing what to look for and acting fast. Every day that passes, more people learn about this variety. More coins are found and snatched up. That window of opportunity is not going to stay open forever. And here's a thought. How many times have you passed up change because it's just a penny? How many fortunes have been handed over to cashiers, dropped in tip jars, or left rolling around in car cup holders? Every ignored penny could be a missed shot at financial freedom. That's the irony. In a world obsessed with big investments, sometimes the smallest asset is the one that can make you rich. But there's a twist. While these coins are rare, they're not mythical. People find them. People just like you. No special equipment. No years of training. Just a sharp eye, a bit of patience, and the knowledge of what to look for. That's why this isn't just a story about a lucky collector. It's an opportunity for you. Right now. Tonight. The moment you finish watching this, you could grab that jar of coins, flip over every penny from 1992, and hunt for the telltale Close AM. And if you think you'll do it later, here's the danger: you won't. Life gets in the way. That jar will keep gathering dust. and the thought of that $1 million penny will slip into the back of your mind. But someone else will check their coins. Someone else will find it. And when you see that headline about the latest record-breaking penny sale, you'll remember this moment and wish you had acted. So let's make a deal. The second this ends, start searching. That 1 cent could be the most valuable minute you've ever spent. Wealth isn't always about grinding harder, working longer, or taking bigger risks. Sometimes it's about spotting the treasure that's been right under your nose all along. If you want to learn exactly how to identify coins like this, the market trends behind their insane value, and which other coins in your change could be worth a small fortune, make sure you subscribe right now. Because the next rare coin story I share could be the one that changes your life. And you wouldn't want to be the person who missed it again. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary looking that you might hand it over for a cup of coffee, only to later discover it could have made you a millionaire. That's the story of the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a tiny disc of copper and zinc that has quietly shattered expectations in the coin-collecting world. One of these elusive coins recently reached an astonishing market value of $994,000. Yes, you heard that right, just under $1 million for a single penny you might have in your change jar right now. The journey to understanding why a simple 1-cent coin could be worth more than a luxury home begins with a question. How does something we overlook every single day suddenly become the ticket to life-changing wealth? The answer isn't just about metal and minting. It's about rarity, history, and a dash of mystery. In 1994, millions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses, most stamped with the familiar D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But a rare few escaped without a mint mark entirely, a minting error so uncommon it's like finding a needle in a haystack the size of Texas. These errors weren't just oversights. They became accidental works of art in the eyes of serious collectors. And in a hobby where scarcity meets demand, that's the golden formula. Now, here's where things get interesting and a little nerve-wracking. Most people who own one of these coins have no idea they're holding treasure. They're sitting in drawers, wedged under couch cushions, or jingling in the bottom of a purse, unknowingly aging into higher and higher value. Imagine tossing one into a vending machine and watching your $1 million opportunity roll away for a bag of chips. Painful, right? Collectors and investors alike know the game. Condition is king. If your 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is in pristine, uncirculated condition, you're not just holding a rare coin, you're holding an appreciating asset. Even a penny in average condition can bring in hundreds, sometimes thousands, but the pristine examples? That's where we get to jaw-dropping figures. And here's the part most people never hear. The market for rare pennies isn't slowing down. It's heating up. Every year, more collectors enter the scene, driving prices upward. The truly rare specimens end up in high-profile auctions where bidding wars break out like gladiator matches, with wealthy collectors fighting over ownership. Why? Because they understand the psychology of scarcity. Once these coins are locked into private collections, they vanish from the market, making the remaining few exponentially more valuable. But here's the danger: you can't just walk into a pawn shop and expect to get top dollar. That's like trying to sell a Picasso at a yard sale. The rare coin market thrives on trust, authentication, and the right network. A single wrong move, cleaning the coin with household polish, for example, can slash its value by 90%. Yes, polishing your $1 million penny is the numismatic equivalent of taking sandpaper to a diamond. So, the $1 million question. Could you have one? The answer is thrilling and terrifying. The only way to know is to look carefully. Go through your old coin jars, dig into those change trays, and check the pennies hiding in that kitchen junk drawer. Examine each 1994 penny under good light, looking for the absence of a mint mark just above the year. If it's missing, congratulations, you may have just uncovered a slice of the American coin collecting holy grail. And yet, even if you find one, the story isn't over. The cliffhanger? Determining its grade, authenticity, and market timing could be the difference between a modest windfall and the kind of payday that changes your zip code. Because in this game, the right buyer at the right time can turn a 6-figure coin into a 7-figure legend. And if you take one thing away from this story, let it be this. Sometimes life-changing opportunities are literally in your pocket, disguised as spare change. You just need the knowledge to see them. So before you spend that penny, think twice. Because it might just be the most expensive coffee you ever buy. Imagine for a moment, You're digging through an old coffee can of coins in the attic, dust swirling in the sunlight, and your fingers stop on a single penny. Ordinary copper color. Ordinary size. But hidden in plain sight is something that could change your life forever. Because that little piece of metal might not be worth 1 cent. It might be worth nearly $1 million. The 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those elusive treasures most people will spend their whole lives never seeing. Most think their change jar is just spare lunch money. But here's the truth. The right coin can be your ticket to financial freedom. And if you know what to look for, you could be holding a fortune without even realizing it. Let's be honest, wouldn't you want to be the person who spots it before the bank teller does? This coin's origin story is almost as fascinating as its value. In 1995, something unusual happened at the US Mint. While most pennies carried a small letter marking where they were made, a rare batch left the presses without any mint mark at all. To the average person, it was just a small detail, easy to overlook. But to collectors, it's like discovering a Picasso at a garage sale. The absence of that tiny letter transformed a common coin into a near-mythical piece, instantly igniting demand among numismatists. But rarity alone isn't enough to drive value into the stratosphere. Condition is everything. The crisp strike of Lincoln's profile, the absence of scratches, the gleaming luster. These are the details that separate a coin worth a few dollars from one commanding hundreds of thousands. The finest examples, graded by top coin certification companies, have reached staggering prices. And right now, the current market value for the highest quality 1995 no-mint Mark penny, an eye-watering $995,000. Of course, this isn't just about coins, it's about what they represent. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself you'd start looking for opportunities, but life got in the way? How many little chances for wealth have slipped through your fingers simply because you didn't know they were there? This penny is a reminder that fortune hides in the quiet corners of our daily lives. Sometimes it jingles in our pockets. Sometimes it waits in a jar beside the couch. Now, let's pause for a moment. Imagine you do find one. Your pulse races. You feel a strange mix of disbelief and hope. Do you rush to sell? Or do you hold, knowing that as time passes, rarity only deepens and prices climb? That decision could mean the difference between a comfortable payday and a once-in-a-lifetime windfall. The truth is, timing in the collectibles market is everything. Economic uncertainty can actually push coin values higher, as investors look for tangible assets that can't be erased by a bad week on Wall Street. And right now, the appetite for rare US coins is stronger than it's been in decades. Collectors are actively hunting, and they're willing to pay top dollar. If you're wondering how to start, it begins with awareness. Go through your coins. Learn what to look for, the missing mint mark, the crisp details, the untouched surfaces. Consider professional grading. Build relationships with reputable dealers and auction houses. And don't be afraid to dream a little bigger than you have before. After all, if a 1-cent coin can be worth nearly $1 million, what else in your life might be hiding untapped value? Here's the part one want you to remember long after this video ends. Opportunity doesn't shout, it whispers. The 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those whispers. The question is, will you be the one who hears it? Or will it pass into someone else's hands, leaving you to wonder what could have been? The attic light fades, the coffee can goes back on the shelf, and life continues. Unless you decide today to look closer. Wealth doesn't always come in stacks of $100 bills. Sometimes it comes in copper. And sometimes in the smallest things we find the biggest changes. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, maybe you'll bend down. Maybe you'll check it. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one telling the story of how a single coin became your $1 million turning point. Subscribe now, because the next coin we talk about might be sitting in your pocket at this very moment. And you won't want to miss it. Imagine this. You're sorting through a jar of old change, the kind that's been sitting in the back of a kitchen drawer for decades, and you find a single, ordinary-looking penny. You toss it aside without a thought. But here's the twist. That penny could be worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your entire retirement fund. Right now, a specific 1996 Lincoln penny has been valued at up to $996,000. Yes, that's almost $1 million for 1 cent. And here's the scary part. People walk past these treasures every single day without knowing it. Back in 1996, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. Most of them are worth exactly 1 cent, as you'd expect. But among them hides a tiny fraction, coins with minting errors, rare die varieties, and pristine, untouched conditions that turn ordinary copper-plated zinc into extraordinary wealth. And the difference between a common penny and a life-changing one. A few microscopic details most people never think to look for. That's where the game changes. These rare coins are often discovered in the most unassuming places. Inside dusty piggy banks, forgotten purses, or change received at a gas station. The thrill of finding one is like striking gold in your own pocket. But here's the thing, hesitation is costly. Every day, more of these coins vanish into collections, vaults, and the hands of private buyers who know exactly what they're worth. That means fewer chances for you to get one. If your first thought is, "I'll check my change later," you might already be too late. The key lies in understanding what makes a 1996 penny valuable. It's not just about the date or the mint mark. It's the condition, the luster, the strike, and most importantly, the errors that slip through the mint's tight controls. A double die, an off-center strike, a clipped planchet. These are the kinds of imperfections that turn a penny into a rare collectible. Imagine holding one in your hand, knowing collectors across the country would fight to outbid each other for it. That kind of power doesn't come from luck, it comes from knowledge. Think about the markets right now. The demand for rare coins is exploding, driven by collectors, investors, and even museums hunting for the finest examples before they disappear forever. The 1996 Lincoln penny has quietly climbed in value over the past decade, with some sales shocking even veteran numismatists. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, it should, because the opportunity window is closing. As each coin gets graded, slabbed, and locked away in private hands, the price for the remaining ones will only go up. You might be wondering, how can something so small be worth so much? It's the same principle that makes a rare diamond, a vintage car, or an original painting valuable. Scarcity meets desire, and when the two collide, the market explodes. Coins in flawless mint state with zero wear can command staggering prices. And if they have that elusive error or variety, that's when the numbers hit the stratosphere. One coin, a single lucky find, could turn your dusty change jar into a down payment on a luxury home. Here's the exciting part. You can start right now. The search doesn't require expensive equipment or insider connections. All it takes is your eyes, a little patience, and the right knowledge. Look for sharp, well-defined details in Lincoln's portrait. An unbroken rim, no signs of scratches or discoloration. And if you spot something unusual, letters doubled, the design off-center, a visible clip, don't spend that penny. Protect it. Get it evaluated by a reputable grading service. But don't fall into the trap of thinking there's no rush. In the world of coin collecting, hesitation can cost you everything. Each day, another rare coin gets found, sold, and locked away forever. The buyers aren't waiting. Neither should you. Imagine the gut punch of realizing the coin you just used to pay for coffee could have been worth your dream car. That's a mistake you only make once, if you're lucky enough to even realize it. The truth is, most people will never check their change. They'll walk right past their chance at financial freedom because they didn't believe a penny could be worth more than a paycheck. But you're not most people. You're here, you're listening, and you now know the truth. Somewhere out there, a 1996 Lincoln penny is waiting for its owner to recognize its worth. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't step over it. Pick it up. Check it. Because it might not just change your day, it could change your life. And if you want to keep uncovering the coins that could be worth a fortune, you know what to do. Subscribe and join the hunt. Your $1 million penny could be closer than you think. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, thinking it's worth just 1 cent, only to discover it could change your life forever. Now picture this. The right 2008 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, hiding in your pocket change or tucked away in a forgotten jar, could be worth nearly $1 million. $998,000 to be exact. And here's the thing. Most people will spend it without ever knowing. That's why you're here, Because you're not most people. It all starts with an ordinary coin from an ordinary year, 2008. The economy was in chaos, people were worried about the future, and yet, in the middle of that uncertainty, something extraordinary slipped quietly into circulation. No fanfare, no announcement, just a simple Lincoln cent, missing one critical detail, the mint mark. And while most people never notice such a thing, collectors do. They know that a missing mint mark can transform an everyday coin into a once-in-a-lifetime prize. But here's the truth that makes people's palms sweat. Thousands of 2008 Lincoln pennies exist, but only a select few have the right combination of condition, rarity, and error that makes them skyrocket in value. It's not enough to simply have the year. You need perfection, or at least something very close. Crisp details, sharp edges, no signs of wear. Think of it like finding a four-leaf clover in a field of thousands of regular ones, except this clover could buy you a house. Now, you might be wondering, how does a 1-cent coin even get to a value like $998,000? The answer is a cocktail of scarcity, demand, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. Collectors will pay enormous sums to own something that nobody else can have. And when two collectors want the same coin, let's just say their wallets turn into weapons. The last high-grade example that sold caused a bidding war that still gets whispered about in numismatic circles. Imagine the tension in that auction room. Hands twitching over bid buttons, eyes locked on a grainy photo of a penny that looks just like any other. Except it isn't. Here's where the fear kicks in. Right now, as you watch this, someone out there might already have one sitting in a change jar. A penny they'll toss into a vending machine tomorrow. The opportunity slips away every single day because people don't know what to look for. And here's the gut punch. Once it's gone, it's gone. That's why the clock is ticking. So what should you be looking for? Start with the obvious. No mint mark under the date. That means it wasn't struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, at least not in the usual way. Combine that with an untouched, pristine surface and you've got a candidate worth examining further. Now, don't panic if your coin has a tiny scratch or two. Some minor marks can still pass muster. But the cleaner it is, the more those zeros start stacking on the price tag. There's also the fine art of grading. Professional grading companies are the gatekeepers to serious value. Send them the right coin, and they'll seal it in a tamper-proof case with a grade that could make the difference between pocket change and a life-changing payday. Here's the twist. Many people are sitting on coins worth hundreds of thousands simply because they never took that next step. I want you to imagine walking into your bank with a coin so valuable the manager has to escort you into a private room to talk about how to cash out. Imagine the weight lifting off your shoulders as debt, bills, and financial worries vanish. Sounds like a fantasy? Not for the few who've done it. But here's the catch, they only did it because they paid attention before it was too late. And don't think this is a game only for the wealthy or experienced collectors. Some of the biggest coin finds in history came from ordinary people just like you who decided to check their pockets. They weren't experts. They were curious. And that curiosity turned into opportunity. Now I have to warn you, word spreads fast. Every time another coin sells for an outrageous sum, more people start hunting. That means the window to find a hidden gem is closing. If you wait too long, you might be looking back one day saying, I could have, I should have, but I didn't. So here's my challenge to you. Tonight, when you get home, dump out every coin jar, search every drawer, and look closely at every 2008 Lincoln penny you find. If you see no mint mark, handle it with care. No tossing it into your pocket with keys and loose change. Consider getting it graded immediately. You might just be holding a $998,000 ticket to a whole new life. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about a coin. It's about seizing a moment before it slips away. It's about knowing that sometimes the smallest things worth a penny, can be worth more than you ever dreamed. And if you're ready to turn that dream into reality, you'll want to stick around here. Subscribe now because the next coin I show you could be hiding in your home right now, and it might just make this one look like pocket change.